Hey guys, welcome back to Young Americans Abroad. My name is Austin.
And my name is Patrick.
And as always, guys, welcome to our show.
Yeah, we got AVT and PAT. They talking about young Americans overseas. We got McKenzie, Pulisic, Reina, and Dest. Got that red, white, and blue. USA on the crest from England, Germany, from Belgium to Spain. Racking up all the medals on the trophy train. Got one thing up in mind. We're scaling some love. One day we can say we will win the World Cup.
Well, guys, it's good to be back. We took last week off due to some things that came up in our personal lives, but we're back here better than ever and excited to talk some footy. Had a lot going on this weekend.
Yeah, definitely a lot going on. It's great to be back filming again, Austin. Just so many things circulating around, the national team here. An interesting time too, right? With COVID and spiking across all different sport leagues, right? So interesting to see how that will affect things. But yeah, we got to keep going on, right? We have our boys in the leagues abroad, still doing some great things, and then a little bit of a lull, right? Friendly here there, but excited to get back into World Cup qualifiers as well.
Yeah, World Cup qualifiers right around the corner there in January, and also some transfer rumors we're going to talk about today. So definitely a lot of action in this holiday season. So I guess with that, Pat, do you want to get started on our first player for today?
Yeah, 'tis the season, Austin. 'Tis the season. For the first player we'll start with here is Pefok there. And it has been a long time coming, in terms of talking about him, Austin, and just kind of obviously the snub from Berhalter definitely made a huge statement, right, recently. So Pefok there had a career game yesterday. We're filming this on Monday, where he found the back of the net 4 times, pacing Young Boys to a 5-0 win over Lugano there in the Swiss Super League. So really just recapping everything here quickly. I think in the 6 minutes, started off, scored with his right foot from 12 yards out or so after collecting a loose ball there, slipped it past the goalkeeper, and then doubled, the lead there for Young Boys with a far post header off of, I think it was a right wing cross there in the 21st minute. So yeah, and then obviously reached the hat trick with a penalty kick there, blasted into the upper right corner, and then kind of some icing on the cake, right? Another header from the right flank where he came in near the penalty spot and just blasted it in. Great controlled header. And that makes it 4, right, Austin? So he scored 11 goals now in 17 league appearances. So just the league there for third place Young Boys. And he's really getting that goal scoring form back. I think tied for second place in terms of scoring in the league as well. And it had been a few weeks. He had been on a scoring drought in early December there. Ironically, the last goal came against this team, Lugano, in the Swiss league. So I guess he just is a goal scoring machine against this team, I should say. But awesome. Really great to see him back in goal scoring form and hopefully with the USMNT again.
Yeah, and he's like you said, he's had a little bit of a lull here in his goal scoring record, but back on the score sheet now has 11 goals in league play this year in Switzerland. So quite the tally, right? Like, last year he had some success there in Switzerland, but was kind of in and out of the first team lineup or starting 11, excuse me. And this year it really is, taken hold of that position and is doing a great job there in Switzerland. So good to just see him having success, right? Like Pefok's a player that, I feel like he got a little bit disrespected this past fall. I really thought he should have been on, at least one of the 2 most recent World Cup qualifying rosters. And, it wasn't the case. So again, it's up to him to prove to Greg Berhalter he needs to be there. And that's what he's doing right now.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. And that definitely does something, for a player's mentality, and it's tough, right? He had this period, right, like you said, where he maybe wasn't that great goal scoring for him, and he's a unique player, Austin. We know his ceiling, what we're getting with him, and even in this game, right, he scored 4 goals. I think he had under 30 touches, which is pretty incredible too, right? That conversion rate. So he's a poacher, exactly. So when poachers aren't scoring, or maybe they're not dropping back, they're not involved maybe in the combinations or the buildup, or almost kind of feeling like kind of a wasted space out there, just to kind of be harsh. That it's kind of a blessing and a curse, right? Somebody that can score like that, but also in those droughts, just it looks brutal, even though, he still has pretty good numbers overall in the season. So, yeah, I don't know. I think with this form, and rightfully so, I think he should be back with the U.S. and somebody maybe we would bring on as a late sub. But we know what we're getting with him, right? And the type of player. But if we're struggling, right, against a low block, maybe 0-0 on the road against Costa Rica or Honduras, and all he needs is one or two chances to put the ball in the back of the net with off of a corner, a set piece. I mean, I want him there. I want him, with the team.
Yeah, and also, late in January, a lot of these MLS players are not going to be super fresh, right? They're going to have some time off. They're going to be coming back from,
good point.
Their current situations. And we don't have too many strikers abroad that are playing really well. And I want to recognize this is one game, right, for Pefok out of, however many in the last month where he scored. So I think, we'll have to see kind of how the next few games go, especially once their holiday period concludes. But I definitely think he's someone that, given the situation, later on in January, could be a good asset for us to have and call up. So, it was really positive to see him, again, score these goals. I think, having a player that, plays in the Champions League, plays, in Europe this year and has done well in both, competitions he's in, right? In Switzerland and in European play, he's got 16 total goals, which is, pretty impressive on the season. That's saying something. So I think, we'll have to keep an eye on him going forward.
Yeah, definitely. And it's just so great to have him, find that stability right there, with this club, just being very successful in terms of, like you said, having some of those appearances in the Champions League, a strong team that's going to have a lot of the possession there, get a lot of chances there and kind of dominate their league. Granted, it's not maybe a Bundesliga, right? Or, the Liga or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, it's just great for him to find that home and then just continue to build on this. And he's not kind of in these lone situations or out in the dark. Like, he is a focal point, I think, to this team.
Yeah, which is good. And it's what he needs right now, right? As a 25-year-old player, he needs a consistent home. He needs a coach that believes in him. And that's really what he's got right now in David Wagner. So, So I think with that, we're going to move over to our next topic for today. And that will be, Kristian Pulisic winning the U.S. Male Soccer Player of the Year, and then Ricardo Pepi winning Young U.S. Male Soccer Player of the Year. So we're going to talk, a little bit about Kristian Pulisic here. Just wanted to cover this because, this is a big deal, right? Winning this award, winning these awards, excuse me, is a big accomplishment for both players. And I think both players are very deserving of the award this year. And I think there was good competition for both. And to start off, we'll look at the Male Player of the Year. So there were 6 candidates for this award. We had Brenden Aaronson, who, is at Salzburg, has had a fairly good year, also with the USMNT, scoring goals, providing assists, really stepping up in the absence of some players due to injury. So it was good to see him, as a nominee for this award. You also had Kellyn Acosta, who's really been a solid presence all year, kind of on and off the field. Really has played in, I think it was all the games this year for the USMNT. Maybe he missed one or two here kind of down the stretch, but has really been a consistent presence since getting called back up. And I think was a part of both trophies this summer. And also was
serious minutes.
Yeah. And he was also a part of, I think, all 3 wins against Mexico. So he's gotten serious minutes. He's been a pretty big influencer, for this team so far this year. So I think it was kind of fair to see him in the running here. Not to say he should have won or anything, but I do think he's had a pretty good year. You've had Weston McKennie also as a nominee for this award. Obviously made the move to Juve last year, did a really good job with them over this calendar year. Also scored, crucial goals against Mexico, helping us win the Nations League. And then also in that Dos a Cero during World Cup qualifying, finishing it off, scoring that second goal was really big, has been a big presence with this team. Obviously had that little, camp incident, but we're going to kind of skip over that. And I think another player that was deserving to be nominated. Obviously we have Kristian Pulisic. So to me, I think, this was the the clear winner out of a pretty strong field of players. But, the biggest thing here, right, is winning the Champions League this year. That's really the first time a player has been such a crucial part of a team that's won Champions League. So I really think that was, such a big accomplishment that there's really nothing else done by any of these other players that really, could best that achievement. Then obviously also, again, having a hand in the Nations League win, scoring that iconic goal, and then also scoring another iconic goal against Mexico in World Cup qualifying as the man in the mirror was pretty cool as well. Yeah. Then we had Miles Robinson, who again scored the game-winning goal against Mexico in the Gold Cup. Also has been a super steady performer all year for the USMNT. Really has been, one of the breakout players. Honestly, if we had a breakout player award, I think Miles Robinson could easily have gotten that award this year for the USMNT. And obviously did, some good things with Atlanta United this year. And then finally we had Matt Turner, who really, there was some back and forth at the end of the year, right, with Zach Steffen kind of coming back into the fold here for the full national team. But when you look at Matt Turner's year, not only in MLS, he had a great year in MLS. New England Revolution won the Supporters Shield. Was I believe the best goalkeeper in MLS this year. Won that award. So he had a really good club year. But for the USMNT, he actually set 2 records, or at least I think tied one record and set another. So the first one was having the most caps by a USMNT goalkeeper in a debut year. So that was 13 this year. And then also had, the record for most shutouts in a single year with 9 for the USMNT. So pretty big numbers. Again, was a crucial part in that Gold Cup, Gold Cup qualifying, or not qualifying, Gold Cup tournament win.
Right.
And also, had some other really good games this year for the USMNT, played a really key role in a lot of games. So at the end of the day, again, Kristian Pulisic won this award. I think it was very, very fairly won too. Just played such a crucial role for the USMNT. And I guess, do you agree, Pat? Does that sound fair? Out of all those candidates, does he seem
right then in the history books, Austin, of U.S. soccer, what he was able to do, Champions League winner. That's just unreal. If you told me, I don't know, a few years back, or even when we started this channel, that we'd have a Champions League winner there, that's just, I should say another one, but that's just awesome, right? In our era, someone that we're kind of, watching sort of local, right? To us too, and just seeing him rise from Hershey to where he is now. I mean, even with some of the injuries here and there, just an incredible year for him there for club and country. So I have no complaints with that. And then again, the other players are so well deserving too to be on that list there. And really some great standouts here for players. Aronson, you mentioned Turner, and Robinson, who's been unreal. I mean, all those players really deserve to be up there.
Yeah, it was just such a good year for us, right, as a program, winning two trophies, doing really well in World Cup qualifying right now. 17 wins in 2021. That's a record for most wins in a calendar year. But just thinking about that and how many games we played and how dominant we were this year, finally changing and turning the tide against Mexico, such a important year, like you said, in history. And Kristian Pulisic really played a big role in in all the happenings this year. So yeah, I couldn't say it was more deserved. And it's really interesting, right? Because people always have that narrative right now where is Landon Donovan the best USMNT player of all time, or Clint Dempsey even, and then you compare them to Kristian Pulisic, and everyone was saying, well, Kristian Pulisic needs to do it in a USMNT jersey, he needs to do it against Mexico. And really this year you saw him take that next step and really solidify his presence as a leader in CONCACAF, and really a USMNT legend in the making, which we knew was going to happen, but he actually did that this year. So I think it's really cool. Really, really important year, like you said. Looking at the young male player of the year, there was 5 nominees for this award. And the first one we had was George Bello. So had a pretty good year in his own right, was on that Gold Cup team that won, was also called up to several World Cup qualifying camps, was really a player that I thought kind of stuck around when I didn't expect it, and was a player that
trusted him.
Yeah, he really did trust him. Obviously, he played in this, friendly against Bosnia as well, and really has kind of taken that next step this year, which was good to see. Even at Atlanta United as well, being a consistent starter for them. You also had Gianluca Busio, who kind of did something similar, right? Won the Gold Cup this summer, made the move to Venezia for his club, and has really, done a great job in Serie A, standing out for that team, providing them with a consistent presence in midfield. And then also, with his role for the USMNT, getting more responsibility as the year has gone on, being called up to more camps. And yeah, the future is bright for him. We also had Jesus Ferreira, who, had a great year for FC Dallas, was really a key playmaker for that team. Also got some opportunities with the USMNT this year. Was even, part of that U23 cycle that didn't, end so great, but was really kind of a leader on that team. And I honestly think was, one of the players that had a good, run of games with them and has really done a pretty good job taking his chances with minutes he's gotten. Then you had Yunus Musah, who, again, a player that has so much potential, a player that just plays so much different than a lot of other players we have in our pool. And we just know, right? We know he's going to be a really key player down the road, but took that next step this year, got more responsibility like some of these other players, and really stood out when trusted with that responsibility. So he was on this list. And then finally, Ricardo Pepi, right? So Ricardo Pepi, I think, again, like Christian Pulisic, fully deserves this award. And when you look at the stats, it's really not even close compared to these other players. A good example of that is, well, maybe I'll get to that later. I'll just run through kind of the stats on him real quick for this year. So he had 13 goals and 2 assists for FC Dallas this year in MLS. Was the MLS Young Player of the Year, was also an MLS All-Star, excuse me. I think he scored the game-winning penalty, if I'm not mistaken, for the MLS team over the Liga MX All-Stars. Also had the most goals scored by an American in MLS this year, and was also tied for most goals scored all time by a teenager in an MLS single season. So not an easy feat right there, and that's a really cool record to have. Also made his USMNT debut this year and scored 3 full national team goals. So he's the only player on this list that scored a full national team goal. So yeah, I think there's definitely something to say about that. And that's, I think in that own right, scoring 3 of them is really, again, a good reason why he won this award, and also just his presence he had in World Cup qualifying, right? That was kind of the big narrative of his season this year, outside of, the success he had for FC Dallas.
Austin, you got any more tickets, man? Punch them all. Punch all those tickets for me. I'm on that Pepi hype train, man. I mean, he deserved it, right? Again, similar, all those players, Musah, everyone else, right? Very well deserving to be there. They are special. A great crop of young players moving forward. We have the talent, but Pepi, I mean, the goals he was able to have, and just kind of, right, the impact he had on such short notice to be able to come into this team and just take the reins of this position that we've struggled with for so long. And when he's able to do the things, you see him doing in terms of scoring and even just his intelligence, with his runs, his build-up play, the little flicks he has, understanding the space, he is special and he's different, Austin. I'm so excited to see where he goes and if Dallas will ever let him out of their clutches, clutches, I should say, but that's another conversation. But yeah, I mean, I'm all aboard. We should all be aboard. That train is going places. So I want to be first in line there.
Yeah. And honestly, again, just his recruitment, right, of being a dual national Mexican-American player that really has put his faith in not only Greg Berhalter, but just kind of the plan or project that we have going here, within U.S. soccer with the young generation coming up. I think he's going to be such a pivotal player to just show that, there is a path, right, for Mexican Americans. I think that's important to be said as well. I think, in the past, that's not necessarily been the case for several different reasons. And I think him showing that, confidence in making that decision, not only is going to pay big dividends for us. I mean, selfishly, I think that's one way to look at it, but just for him as a role model, right, and a leader for other Mexican Americans, I think that's, a really, really bright thing to come out of
Yeah.
this season for him as well. So yeah, I think again both award winners, well deserved. Kind of cool to see how that process played out. I really enjoyed kind of the social media hype that U.S. Soccer created around both awards. Throughout the voting process or the week period after the nominees were announced, really did a good job kind of profiling the reasons why those nominees were selected. And again, it was a good year for our program, right? It's fun to have players that are deserving of these awards. Where in past years it's been kind of like, well, no one's really done a great job this year. Let's just give it to someone who has had an okay year. We can kind of make a case for them. Really, all the nominees for both these awards this year were you can make a good case for why they deserve to be there. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of share that, kind of outline it today, and yeah.
I couldn't have said that better, Austin. I got goosebumps over here from that. So I appreciate you diving in there. And we should all be so excited for the success, after what we've all been through as a fan base, and just be happy for these guys and the direction we're going. It's just so exciting. And it doesn't seem like it's ending anytime soon, and the stock's just going up and up and up. So
bye.
Yeah, exactly. But with that, I guess we'll talk about another player, right? That's just doing big things out there in Europe, and great to see him, kind of breaking free of those injuries. And that's our boy, Austin, Timo. It's Timo Weah time. So some interesting rumors here. With Sevilla reportedly considering Tim as an option for a January transfer move, as the team desperately needs, kind of wingers in the striker area, right? There's been some injuries. I think Erik Lamela is brought in, and he went down. I think from a midfield perspective as well, they do like to play very attacking there and get some of the midfielders involved and ping the wing backs pretty high there. But Suso, another midfielder, is injured. Jesus Navas, who also is injured. So they definitely have a need from the injury perspective. And Tim's name has been mentioned there. It looks like these rumors are picking up steam. So very intrigued, of course, what you all think. So in the comments below, but also, Austin, I want to get your take too. But I find it intriguing. I think I would love to see him, try, if this does materialize, really apply his trade in Spain. Sevilla is in second right now. They're having a fantastic season. Obviously, Champions League, not so much. But again, we know what they can do in the Europa League. They usually win it or get to the final. But second La Liga is no small accomplishment there. And yeah, obviously that it's a great league. It's a great team in form, and Lille is having a tough time right now. Obviously, financially, I think they sit 11th or 12th in Ligue 1, and nowhere near the Champions League spot. So very intriguing prospects. But what are your thoughts, Austin?
Yeah, I think it's really interesting, this move. I think or this rumored move. I think there's some merit to why Tim Weah should maybe gamble on himself and try and seek out a loan where he may get more playing time. He may be in a better position just to play better and be a part of maybe a better team atmosphere. But part of me really just likes where he's at Lille right now. I think there is that caveat that it could be too safe of an environment, and again, they have some players that are kind of ahead of him on the pecking order right now. Potentially they're getting transferred out. I mean, Jonathan David has had a really, really good year. I don't think he's going to move this winter, but maybe if a really, top team comes in with a good bid, he could leave. And again, that opens the door for Tim to get, again, more consistent playing time. I don't know, Pat. I think it's an interesting move. The other part I struggle with too, going to Sevilla, it sounds like, he's going to go there to kind of replace some players that are injured. So I would just be a little concerned about what happens when those players come back from injury. Is he going to be kind of pushed down the pecking order, or do they actually see him as like a player that they want to give starting minutes to and think he can really, perform for them for this season? Right. And maybe, there's a purchase option and they want him for the long term. I don't know. It just seems a little risky right now to me.
Yeah, and that's key, right? Right now, and the timing too. I mean, yeah, obviously you want to test yourself right into other leagues and areas. But with the World Cup year coming up and this team and momentum he's had, with our team, and again, he's really has that great chemistry and connection with Jonathan David as he's there, right, for the time being. Grant, maybe they're not in the best position, but again, they've had a lot of financial troubles, management shifting in and out, and still doing fairly okay there, pretty competitive. And yeah, I mean, it just, like you said, it just seemed like a pretty big risk, but also an exciting challenge and prospect. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. Maybe, again, the severity of injuries, if he goes there, makes a huge impact. But maybe towards the tail end, maybe isn't getting that playing time. He can just go back to Lille. But at the same time, that really does kind of mess with things, right? In a player's momentum, especially going into the Qatar World Cup. So I don't know personally if I would take that chance.
Yeah, and that's a big part of this too. And again, injuries could play a part too, right? If he goes somewhere and something happens and he gets injured, then he's really kind of down the depth chart, not only at that club, but also, at Lille too, right? Coming back from potentially a longer term injury. Not to say that couldn't happen at Lille, but I don't know. I just think he's in a good spot right now. Don't really test fate, right? Just kind of, stay put.
I'm in agreement with you. And again, it's not to say if he stays here, he's going to somehow get progressively worse or it's a good situation. And he's obviously what he's doing at the club level is translating over to the national team, what we've seen him do and just what he's able to. I think again with the opportunities Lille has really given him, and he's just worked so hard, right, to get back to this point, have the impact he's had. There's just so many moving parts, and I think, like you said, just don't mess with it now. Maybe that's something again he could consider in the next year or so.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's fair. So now, Pat, do we want to move on to our final topic for today and kind of take a look back at the USMNT game versus Bosnia and Herzegovina. So again, not the most exciting friendly, Pat, right? It was kind of brutal. Went down to 10 men, Bosnia did, and we were able to squeak out the win at the end. But
exactly.
Do you want to talk about it just a little bit?
Yeah. I mean, obviously there's some of the fan base, right? Of course, we want to play the kids, and knew that some veterans were going to be involved. But I think from the get-go with the lineup, maybe being a little bit more critical, right? Of course, and not taking again too much stock in this almost, I want to say, kind of meaningless to be to be blunt. This friendly here being still quite a ways away from World Cup qualifiers and even that camp, right? But obviously, I would love to see some of the young guys a little bit more, and seeing Roldan had a pretty poor performance, and just that midfield, right? Bosnia sat very, very. Of course, we knew they were going to sit back, right? We had a lot of the possession. Didn't again really translate to the final third, breaking down their low block. A lot of side-to-side passing backwards, no risks. Yule, Roldan. I mean, just kind of sloppy turnovers or no real creativity or confidence, honestly, to progress with the ball or pass forward. So I was a little disappointed in that. But at the same time, I mean, I thought there's some bright spots where a few different combinations. Great to see Jordan Morris back in the field. Obviously, he missed a tough goal. That would have been awesome. But he still had a pretty decent game and got some great involvement there. I think all in all, it really did change, like you said, when that red card came into play in the second half. And I thought there would be a little bit more, changes right away, or just, again, it's a friendly. You're up a player, right? You have the numerical advantage. Why not kind of tinker? Throw some other players on earlier. So I was a little disappointed in that regard, and it just kind of seemed like an 1-0 win, right, Austin? I mean, it's great to get the win. Yeah. Great to see Cole Bassett come in and score, but just kind of felt about it. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I feel pretty much the same. I think we were able to see some players make their debut, right? We saw four players get their USMNT debut. That was Jonathan Gomez, Cade Cowell, Brooks Lennon. Surprisingly, felt like that happened in the past, but that was this game, and then Cole Bassett. So I think at the very least it was positive to see those players make their debuts and get some time on the field. I really thought Brian Reynolds also looked positive in the time he had on the field. Had some good crosses, kind of whipped in the box. I really think he was able to combine well, getting upfield. And again, I think it just reaffirmed to me that he's a quality player. He's just not in a good spot right now with this club. So, hopefully that changes this winter, at the very least over the summer. But I think just seeing him, on the field, obviously this isn't the strongest of competition. So don't want to read into it too much, but I just liked how he looked in this game and thought that was positive. Jonathan Gomez, again, had that shot that led to the goal by Cole Bassett. So in the short minutes he got was a difference maker, right? That provided the difference in the game. So hopefully, he makes that move this year to Real Sociedad, and we can kind of integrate him back into this team even before the end of World Cup qualifying. Like I think if he can get in that first team this year, this spring, and kind of get his feet wet in Europe and get some minutes right away, then definitely should call him up. Even if that doesn't happen, maybe even call him up for a camp and just kind of get him in there, get him a feeling of that environment, right? A full national team environment. So at the very least, we saw some minutes from some players we really wanted to see, and still struggled to score goals in the absence of some players. But
common theme, unfortunately, right? And again, I don't want to be too negative, right? It was awesome to see Bassett finish that chance, and again, some of the players you mentioned, I would love to see Gomez have a little bit more time, but he did make such an impact, right? And that'll be interesting to see. This is going from the USL to La Liga. That's a big jump, but I think he can do it. I'm really excited. So just to kind of see the difference, right? I'm sure it'll be a little bit adjustment in terms of the pace, right, of everything, and just the mentality over there, right? It's a grind. So I'm excited there. But I guess, again, going back to the lineup and even the subs, like from Roldan, right? Obviously Zimmerman, had a decent performance and somebody that, we know a lot about. But I just don't see why you need to sub in Zardes or, even Turner. I love to see Gaga. I think we talked about offline here. I just don't really see the need for, I guess, in this December friendly to have some of those guys, play significant minutes or even feature, at least for this game, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess some of it is maybe getting them minutes to keep them fresh. But I mean, the game time they got and the camp minutes they got are not going to really translate to end of January. And obviously, some of these players that started are more first team players for a World Cup qualifying camp. So I guess I understand that, getting a more game time in this environment. But I think there is some merit to playing some of the younger players, seeing what they can do. And, again, Greg Berhalter got them for a few weeks. So I don't know. I guess part of it is, whoever showed out in camp kind of gets those minutes to start. And maybe that was the players that we saw start. But always part of me and part of us would like to see some more minutes for younger players. But we'll be on our soapboxes, for the end of time.
No, I couldn't agree more. But I mean, you take what you can from this, and a win's a win to end the calendar year. So at least you can feel good about that, right? Heading into 2022. So I mean, I don't know. Do you think, Austin, there was anyone maybe that you wanted to see or kind of disappointed that maybe didn't feature, or just anything that you were like, I wish I saw a little bit more of this player, or somebody that didn't even get game time at all? And like you said, you brought up a good point. Maybe there's something that Berhalter didn't see or didn't think, a certain player, right, was ready, right, to get significant minutes, or, with this game. So I don't know. Did anyone kind of come to mind from your end?
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe, I guess you could say 4 players. So kind of like you said, having Matt Turner play the whole game to me kind of seemed a little pointless. I would have liked to see Gabriel Slonina, get a half maybe. Because he's looked the part in MLS this year. I think he's going to have a great season next year. Really has a bright future ahead of him. Obviously, Caden Clark's another one that had a pretty good U20 tournament there, where they played that tournament in Mexico. Had some highlight plays. Had an up and down year, but I think overall generally positive MLS season, and obviously a very bright prospect. Justin Che, another one that I think right now is ready to play minutes for our full national team. Like, I think he could be someone that could even be called up in World Cup qualifying and do a job. And then finally, maybe Taylor Booth would have been another one to kind of just, get some game time, see what he can do. I don't think he's super high up on the list, and I don't think he's really going to play a role in World Cup qualifying, but I think he's an interesting player, someone that's a pretty versatile player too, right? And is in a good situation at Bayern in terms of, what opportunities he's been given so far in his career and kind of the connections he has, potentially at the end of the season. So, those are just kind of 4 players that would like to see, but not super disappointed.
I agree. I'm kind of in the same boat with Booth there. And I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking too much into it, just because, again, it's been up and down with Clark, but just seeing him not feature at all maybe has me a little bit concerned. I would have loved to see him maybe, again, I don't know what happened at camp or anything like that or trainings, but to see him feature a little bit, I don't know. There's a lot in the air, I guess, how this next year or so plays out for him, in his career. So I'm really intrigued about that kind of storyline there. But yeah, I think, Austin, that was really all I had from this game. Unless you wanted to cover anything else, I think we can kind of, jump into quick kicks here.
Yeah, that's all I had too. So like you said, let's head over now to quick kicks. All right, guys. Well, we are back here with quick kicks, and I'm going to pitch it over to you, Pat. Do you want to start us off here?
Let's do it. Let's talk about the man of the hour there, Kristian Pulisic, Austin. So yeah, Kristian, obviously, I think yesterday, right, went to full 90. It's great to see, and a tough 0-0 draw against Wolverhampton Wanderers there. So not what you'd want to see. And then previously, just want to mention again against Everton. A few days back, he also played 90 minutes. So it's really great to see him getting game time, but not the results Chelsea really need right now. It's a tight race.
Yeah, things have kind of nodded right back up there at the top of the Premier League. So good to see Pulisic back, not injured. And
I'm knocking on wood, Austin. I'm knocking on wood.
Yeah, should definitely knock on wood. And going over to Italy, we have Weston McKennie. So Weston was back from injury this weekend, started and played 72 minutes for Juve in their 2-0 win over Bologna. So good to see.
Nice. And Sergiño Dest, very, very interesting, right? So just going back, right, he did play a friendly against Boca Juniors there. And then this weekend, he didn't play. Barca did win 3-2. He's injured there, I think, with groin and some back, injuries there. So interesting to see with all the transfer rumors and everything else whirling around. I don't know. It's a pretty crazy time for Sergiño there.
Yeah, kind of disappointing to see. He's really taken a beating, and I guess on social media, on Twitter, right, with a 11 that was a best 11 from La Liga that was announced that he was in. There's a lot of fans who disagree, but we back him. So hey, keep doing your thing, Sergiño.
That's right.
Going back to Germany, we have Tyler Adams, who subbed on and played the final 45 minutes for Leipzig in their 1-1 draw midweek versus Augsburg. And then this weekend started the game for Leipzig on the bench, but subbed on 7 minutes in. And again, not a good result for Leipzig. They lost 2-0 to Arminia Bielefeld. So, Jesse Marsch is out, but Leipzig really reeling, unfortunately. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's not a great result. But Yunus Musah, player we were kind of talking about earlier, right? So he scored for the second time in as many Copa del Rey matches for Valencia, right? And a 3-1 extra time victory in the second round. So that was awesome to see. So I think he also got a few minutes here, at the league. So hopefully he gets a little bit more starts in La Liga, but he is killing it in the Copa del Rey.
Yeah, good to see. And going back to Germany, we have Chris Richards, who started and played 90 minutes for Hoffenheim in their midweek 2-2 draw with Leverkusen.
And Konrad de la Fuente, over there in Lyon. So he started and played 59 minutes in a 4-1 win against Canet Rocheville in the Coupe de France.
And staying in Germany, we have Joe Scally, who started and played 76 minutes and also had an assist for Gladbach in their 3-2 midweek loss to Frankfurt. And then over the weekend, he started and played 90 minutes for Gladbach, and that was in a 1-1 draw with Hoffenheim. So good to see him getting an assist. Gladbach continue to struggle in terms of getting points, but Scally looked pretty decent in both games. Was able to watch some of that Saturday game and thought he did pretty well. So
yeah, we can ask. We're going to our Scottish Yankee here.
Cameron
Vickers just picking up trophies, man. So CCD started with the full 90 and a 2-1 win against Hibs there in the Scottish Cup finals. So racking up the trophy train, as Brandon Pineda says there.
That's right. And going over to France, we have Nick Gioacchini, who subbed on, played 13 minutes, and had an assist for Montpellier in their 4-0 win this weekend.
Nice. And Reggie Cannon, finally getting some more game time, right? Starting to play the full 90.
Reggie,
that's right. In a 1-0 win. And then even previous, just want to mention, too, against Sporting Braga, they won 5-1, and he also played 90 minutes. So picking up more starts.
That's good to see, yeah, especially after how the season started. Good to see him back on the pitch. And going over to Italy, we have Gianluca Busio and Tanner Tessmann. So, both started for Venezia in their most recent game. Busio played 69 minutes and Tessmann played 58 minutes. And that was in a 1-1 draw versus Sampdoria. So good to see them both involved in that game and starting.
Again, I'm knocking on wood, but they look like they might stay up. They're doing fairly well there in Serie A. So
that's awesome. I believe in 15th right now.
Yeah,
still out of the relegation zone.
Yeah, exactly. Mark McKenzie, let's talk about him. So he started, played the full 90 in a 1-1 draw against Bayern's Antwerp there. And then even previously, a few days back, he also started and played a full 90 in a 4-2 win against Sporting Charleroi.
Nice. And going to England, we have Antonee Robinson, who finally made his return, started and played 69 minutes for Fulham in their 1-0 loss to Sheffield United.
And Alex Mendez. So Alex subbed on there in the 78th minute in a brutal 4-0 loss to Porto. But awesome, again, seeing him picking up minutes over there in Portugal.
Yeah, and speaking of players picking up minutes, we have Jack de Vries, who made his Venezia debut for them in their 3-1 Coppa Italia win. So good to see a third American getting game time over there in Italy. Hopefully more to come. Has been scoring goals for their U19 team. Has looked bright this season. So
yeah, he's had a quick rise there. That's awesome. Erik Palmer-Brown. I feel like we haven't talked about him in a while, so that's awesome.
Yeah.
Started and played the full 90 in a 1-1 draw versus Nancy there. They lost in PKs 4-2 in the Coupe de France, but great to see PB racking up some minutes there.
Yeah, and staying in France, we have Kaile Auvray. So he scored a goal for Lille's U19s in their 3-1 win this weekend. So one prospect to keep your eye out for.
Nice. And Alejandro Alvarado, Austin. So Vizella's U19s, I should say. He scored a goal there, and they got the 3 points. So I think Neto scored the other one, but it's great to see him on the score sheet, and maybe he'll be joining Mendez there soon.
Yeah. And today we have one final young YAA we want to talk about, and that's the hot name right now, and that's Kristian Fletcher. So he is a midfield from the DMV area, and recently tried with Man United over in England. We're told he has a British passport. He's also 16 years old, and it sounds like he's going to be signing with Borussia Dortmund, very, very soon, basically. So, again, kind of sprung up out of nowhere. Actually played, I think, high school soccer this past year, and also is, been a part of some club teams in the area there in the Maryland area. So. Kind of an interesting story that's really come out of nowhere. If it's true that he has a British passport and can play right away after making, a move abroad, I think that's fantastic. And, really excited about kind of what's to come for him. If it's not true, and he's got to wait until he's 18, a little bit more nervous about that move. But nonetheless, good to see young prospects getting trials overseas with some top clubs, and then also getting signed by top clubs. So gonna have to keep an eye on Kristian. So I think with that, Pat, that will end our episode for today. So thanks everyone for watching. Make sure you like the video and subscribe to our channel down below.
And don't forget social media, Instagram, Twitter, always putting out great content for you guys, especially so much to talk about, right? For the fan base here.
That's right. And we also have our merch store we launched this year. So cop a fresh t-shirt that you see Pat there wearing. And it's been a fun year so far. We've still got some time left in the calendar year for players to do some fun things and big things. So keep following along. We'll try and cover it all. And I think with that, Pat, there's only one thing left to be said, right?
Yeah, that's right. And I think maybe you can wish, right, for Santa, Austin. What's your kind of wish there in the new year?
That's right, Santa. I gotta start early, right? We gotta get our wishes. Gotta make sure we're all on the nice list, right? All the players of the USMNT program. But that is one day, please, Santa. One day we will win the World Cup.